Go!
All right, it's good to be back. It's been a while since we've done a two-man show, and we finally got back together here. So thank you for all the new viewers. If you haven't done so, what are you waiting for? Please hit that like, that subscribe button, bell notification, super chats are available. But that subscribe button really helps us out. So if you could share the show and hit that, it would drastically help us, and we'd really appreciate it. A lot has happened since we've last spoken, Mr. FOMO. Let's talk about some big stories here. CZ is gone from Binance. And maybe we saw that coming, but you probably thought it would take years and years and years. And not only is he gone, but they don't want him to leave the country. And as of the right now, he's still in the country because they want to bring up supposedly even bigger charges. And Binance paid a gigantic fine. Whether it's 1.8 billion or 4 billion or something in between, it's somewhere both kind of reported numbers there. And he's out. He's not allowed to be involved for at least 3 years. And it looks like, based on some reports this afternoon, he might not be able to leave the country because they might be bringing up even bigger charges and they don't want him gone, which, it's not great. He agreed to some stuff, but I'm wondering if he knew the full specter of what he was facing here.
Yeah, that's my curiosity too, because my initial thought was, what are you doing in the country anyway? Can't you just throw up 100 million and say, I'll do this from the UAE? Can't you teleconference? Couldn't you have Zoom called into this? And that's why I think you're right. I think they might have pulled a little bit of a bait and switch here. They got him to admit to this charge and that charge. And then, oh, by the way, while he's here, let's go ahead and hold on to him in case we want to charge him with this, that, or the other thing. And so I think it's a little bit of underhandedness. I mean, the law is the law. You can do what you can do if you're a lawyer, but it's a little bit underhanded. And to me, I just think if you have that much money and you have the ability to do it, I really honestly would have stayed with my wife and children in the UAE in a country that has no extradition treaty and avoided all of this altogether. And so this is kind of a weird situation. And that was my question, is why'd you even show up in the first place? But it must have been something like, okay, you admit to this, this, and this, and then we'll let you walk away and no big deal. And he's still owner, he's still going to be collecting money from this company. It's not like stepping down as CEO absolves him of all of his earnings, right? He's still going to get money from this. And then after the 3 years, if this is the only thing that happens to him, he'll be able to step back up as CEO if that's what they finally decide on. So, I mean, from what I can see straight in the beginning, it seems like a bit of a slap on the wrist for a guy. And he was able to admit to some things that I think were far less than what he actually was able to get away with.
Meanwhile, Steve Ehrlich, yes, he's been, sued, but still hasn't gotten any criminal charges. And whether you agree or disagree about whether there should be criminal charges, I definitely feel like there should be something going on there for sure. That's my thing. I still think Ehrlich is not out of the woods. We'll see. Really quickly, a lot of people have reached out about Voyager. No, we haven't heard back yet. Okay. It's just don't know yet. My concern is, Mr. FOMO, that we're looking at a trial here. We're going to know by December, right? We're going to know. Okay. And so my thing is, when we find out, if we find out it's going to be a trial, it could be 6 to 12 months before the next payout for Voyager customers. And that really sucks. So I'm hoping, really, really hoping that we get much better news next month.
Yeah, I think, first of all, you touched on Stephen Ehrlich and the other sort of corrupt CEOs of these companies. And for a long time, I've been calling them pirates of unregulated industry. I think that's kind of doing pirates a disservice, don't you think? From what I know of some of the pirates, they were actually honorable once they attacked these merchant ships and they robbed from the rich. They took some of these people and gave them jobs on their ships and paid them better and treated them better. And they had more of a democratic society. So I feel like calling these people pirates is a little bit too nice. There's something worse than a pirate that these people are, these monsters that took our money and continue to live lavish lives out there. And so, yeah, I think Stephen Ehrlich needs to answer some questions. And further, I think Paul Hage and the UCC, or whatever is left, I don't think there's a UCC anymore, but the wind down administrator needs to give us some information about what's going on with this mediation process.
Well, I expect some information on the website in December, but
I certainly hope so, because
yeah,
all
they
the
got to
stuff
do
that
it.
they're
They got
putting
listen.
out is basically justifying them paying what they call experts, ad hoc expert group is what they're calling the AHEG. But these people, it really, all they're doing is just throwing documents out there that are saying, yeah, we had to pay this guy for this, or this guy for this, or my buddy needed money for this, and he made some phone calls for us, whatever. But we're not getting any meat. We're not getting anything that we can go on that tells us what's going to happen next for us as creditors. And that's a little bit disheartening. I mean, that initial payout was fine, but now we want to know where the rest of our money is and when we're going to have access to it. And if that means we're going to have to wait 6, 12, 18 months, if we're not going to see this money until after the bull run, that's a huge opportunity cost that we're missing out on. And I think that needs to be something that's on the forefront for the wind down administrator, is that they need to step up and recognize that there's still a huge opportunity cost out there that a lot of these people are going to miss on if they're going to drag their feet. And so they owe us at least the information so that we can make those plans and look to the future.
Okay. Now, really quickly, I want to talk about a big post on Bitcoin. Now, Plan B has been wrong before, but I definitely want to address this. So if you could pull that up for us really quickly.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you had a shit.
We'll end the show on this. Plan B thinks that you may never see 35K Bitcoin ever again, or below 35K, to be more honest, ever again. And that's pretty significant there, really significant, because that means that this is an amazing buying opportunity, like we've been saying. And you've talked about the holiday hole being December's the last chance to grab Bitcoin before things go crazy in 2024. Specifically, we've kind of talked about late January, early February. But if this is indeed true here, and Plan B has been wrong before, but he's also been right sometimes. Take it with a grain of salt. Man, that would be amazing if you really didn't have anything below 35K. That would mean you're buying Bitcoin today at ultimately an amazing deal that you're never going to see again in your lifetime.
I have to take this tweet with a grain of salt. One, like you said, he's been wrong before, but two, he kind of leaves some caveats out there that make it kind of a non-statement. He says, 35K might be the bottom unless there's a black swan event or there's market volatility. He's basically saying, unless the crypto market happens again, you won't see it below 35K. So I think you have to take that with a little bit of a grain of salt,
Well,
reading into what he's saying there. There could be a black swan event. I mean, we talked about this earlier, and you mentioned some things that could be out there, like a possible larger or escalation of the current wars that are already out there could drive markets further down. I don't know what else we talked about. Some other things that might
the only thing I could see,
is
Mr.
what they were
FOMO,
saying. And I think that the market could see another downturn, and it doesn't necessarily have to take a black swan or even huge amounts of volatility to send it down below that level. So I'm not really sure. I mean, I understand what metric he's looking at, but I think there's a lot of other metrics that we have to take.
The only big black
account.
swan event in crypto that's left for me is if something happens to Tether, and that's it. Otherwise, I think it's smooth sailing unless there's some catastrophic world events to the next, not financial advice, but to the next bull run here coming up. Sometime in late January, early February, and into the rest of 2024. Remember, things never go straight up. There will be dips during the bull run, and we'll talk about that in future shows. But really, besides Tether in the world of crypto, I don't see anything just derailing what the train's coming, ETFs, everything. Yeah, we'll worry about that another time. But
yeah, you got a kid that needs help on a Nearpod.
I don't think it's my student, by the way, Mr. FOMO. I think that's all you.
I've been selling any Nearpods lately, so we're good.
Anyways, at least we're using technology, but that's just another show for another time. Really quickly, I talked about this with family members over the holiday break. There's a danger of, getting married to these altcoins again. We've talked about this. So before we leave, tell our viewers why, one, they should think about, for financial purposes only, DCAing into the alts now, as things look like they're kind of not on fire and they might be headed a little bit lower. And why, when January 2024, February, March do come, when profits are there, that you need to seriously consider taking them.
Well, one, like we've talked about a couple of times, we've talked about November and December are generally not hot months, and you might see another downturn going into the holidays. So, one, you'll have the opportunity to see something there possibly. But two, we have some projects that are unlocking tokens here at the beginning of the bull run in preparation for the bull run, right? And so you've got tokens like, and I've got a list of them here: Optimism, SWE, Axeler, Immutable X, 1inch, H-bar, Hedera, Hashgraph. Those are all going to unlock a lot of tokens. I think Arbitrum, even in March, is going to unlock more tokens. And so that is going to cause a lot of problems for the price action of those tokens. But once you ride out those token unlocks and you see those prices fall, it's going to give you an opportunity to get into some good projects at low prices at this point in the bull run. Well, a project like Immutable X is in gaming, and you know how I feel about gaming. I mean, it's the same part of the brain that lights up when people are addicted to things, right? Like major hardcore drugs. And so gaming is one of those things that people not only get addicted to, but they spend loads of money on, and it's legal. There's no downside. You're not destroying your community. You're not hurting anybody. People are enjoying what they're playing. And so I think gaming is one that's important. And to see Immutable X there is one that you're going to want to take a look at. Also, Hedera Hashgraph gives you a little bit of diversity in your portfolio. A Hashgraph is not necessarily a blockchain, so you can hedge your bets there as well. 1inch is huge. Some of the other ones that are Optimism, Arbitrum, those are really good projects with decent market caps. And so if those fall any further, you might be grabbing those heading into a bull run where they could see huge gains after those token unlocks.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. We got a draft coming up soon because I think it's really going to be time to go shopping pretty soon. If your holiday hold theory continues to hold, and right now Bitcoin's really struggling to get above 38. And until we see a daily close above 38, I think it's safe to say that December, unless we get some ETF news, which is always possible, is not going to be a hot month, but it's a great time to accumulate, setting yourself up for the late winter and early spring and really taking some gigantic profits. And we hope you take us with you as that happens. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, that like, bell notification. Super chats are always available. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. We'll see you later this week. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
See ya.